but I think it'll hold out in terms of no rain anyways. And what did I read today? How about this one? News about how there will be, I guess, more drones around airplanes and so forth, just doing things like drone delivery here. This one says, drones share the sky with planes in new phase of development that holds promise for future. A first of its kind drone delivery system at the Edmonton International Airport is expanding. Large drones can now safely share airspace with planes, coordinating with flights landing and taking off, and the Montana First Nations south of Edmonton will be one of the first to feel the benefits. Friday morning, after a brief delay for a passing plane, a large drone took to the sky by itself, monitored by Control Center in Toronto and Chris Cannell on the ground. I do have the controller and I can take control if need be, but realistically I don't, Cannell said, and it flies really autonomously. So that's kind of interesting, basically controlling it in a completely different province. I know this place has been experimenting a lot in terms of drone deliveries. In fact, one of you actually commented you actually work there, so there has to be something going on in terms of these types of drone deliveries becoming standard there. This one says, about 3 years ago, the Edmonton International Airport was the first in North America to test out drones for delivering small packages from its warehouse to a designated landing pad in Leduc County. More than 3,000 successful flights later, the next phase of drone deliveries is now possible. It says, quote, the interesting part is the integration of the drone delivery in the conventional commercial aircraft that we see today, said Trevor Caswell of the Edmonton International Airport. Untold amounts of paperwork between the airport, Nav Canada, and the drone company have checked all the safety boxes to allow drones to share the air with planes. Now they're flying 10 kilometers to a new pad outside of controlled airspace. There are many eyes in the world looking at what we're doing in Canada because this type of drone delivery is very fit for urban and rural deliveries, Caswell said. This is part of the Phase 2 program is to revolutionize the way drones will integrate to first and final mile location in controlled airspace safely, he added. So we're really helping transform this sector. There's no business model that exists today for these flights, what it costs to ship per package or a kilo rate. So our partners in this program are working together to bring that framework together. I expect this stuff to be standardized later on. It makes you wonder just in terms of airspace and all that. For example, like this one specifically says controlled airspace. How long will it be until it'll be everywhere in uncontrolled airspace as well? Or will that be a sign where if you fly, let's just say in a Class G airspace here, eventually they'll all be, quote, controlled instead? Would that be a bad thing, for example? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Now with that thought, a lot of people would have the mindset of controlled airspace, you have to kick out all these drones. For example, if people are just capturing footage and all that, what would you use in terms of a system? This was kind of interesting. It's not directly related to it, but it shows what it seems like an anti-drone gun in action. So you can see here in this video, it looked like there was a drone flying around some kind of event or something like that. It looked like a DJI drone. And then all of a sudden, it looks like it's going out of control. And then just like that, it crashes into the object. So, and looking at this further, you can see actually in the background of the video, it looked like someone had an actual drone jammer gun per se, and it was using that to control the drone. Can you imagine that, where you think, for example, as someone flying this drone, it's just going out of control because of bad signal, whereas it is somebody like here actually controlling this? I don't doubt this will be actually a standard as well in certain places where they'll have people stationed with these types of, quote, drone guns. It makes you wonder too, for everyone who's had their drone crash out of nowhere for no reason, could this be a factor where somebody is running some kind of jamming device, for example? So that thought in terms of, I guess, other types of drones, weaponized ones, again, these ones are going on the news a lot in recent times. These Dragon drones apparently used by Ukraine. This one here says, truly unique combat footage, a Dragon drone spews molten thermite on Russian tank and destroys it. Yeah, it is as it is. Again, you've been seeing so many of these types of videos where they send out these drones with what looks like, for example, flamethrowers and all that, and eventually they melt down the targets. Potentially, I guess, in some other cases for different drones, they crash into them. But I would think these are the type of drones you should be worried about in general. Can you imagine that? Like in the previous one, you spend all your resources just trying to track down things, for example, such as toy drones or camera drones and all that, whereas these ones, you have absolutely no defense against it. But it just shows you how there are such different varieties of these drone techs that people are using nowadays, huh? See you guys later.